The Frosty 510 here, welcome back. I'll just run around a little bit. So we got the new patch, finally, with the loot buffs for bosses and wisps, and just in general, I feel like you get better loot. I mean, strong boxes, all boxes, chests and things. So sort of like, guaranteeing rare items and more currency. I would say from the eye test, the brain test, and the fact that I've been trying to craft things now, I've had enough exalts to craft some things, and then fail miserably to craft anything of any value. Things are better. Loot is better. I've just finished my beat the rare tier 15 corrupted map to get all my Atlas things that I've still got, I think, a couple to get from unique maps, and it won't load. I did get booted earlier, and it just kept booting me and saying there was issues, so maybe there's more issues. So this is quite comedic, and it's entirely unintended. Yeah, as someone who plays the game wrong, according to Ben, which is totally realistic, because, yeah. So I can only minimally juice the maps. I can't get, like, massively juice the maps. And I don't have, like, unique things, and I don't trade. And I don't, buy anything really in the currency exchange at the minute. I have noticed, it's a very noticeable difference in loot. A consistency of loot, I suppose, is my point. But to the point that I've been happy to actually, just spam exalts on stuff. I would like more exalts, but again, I think that's more to do with my setup of the maps than anything else. But the game is broken. It'll load eventually. Yeah, I've had a couple of issues with just booting me a lot, and then eventually I managed to get back in the map and pick up the loot and stuff, and finish the map. But the other issues I've had, which were earlier before this patch, were with unique maps, and I suppose on the point of not playing the game right, I suppose I could elaborate. I think the Path of Exile 1 and 2 and their failure to teach the player much, I suppose that's the crux of it. So a game being difficult because it doesn't actually educate the player is very different to a game being difficult because it has complex mechanics. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games out there, and many with complex mechanics that actually explain the mechanics and break them down. And then there's games that don't explain anything, and then like the smell of their own farts with how complex they are, and they don't explain. It's like, oh, you could watch the YouTube videos. Like, oh, so I can't learn in game? I suppose that's I don't know. I've only played PoE1 before Heist was introduced, and it's been a little while. But then playing it on my own without, I mean, I watched the Zizaran, his long tutorial thing, and try to intake as much information as possible, but it's just so much. And then you slowly pick up little things. I think I've learned more. Like, it takes me a few goes. So I created like nine characters in the first iteration of the Path of Exile beta, and had a good time, but I didn't really do much mapping because I heard so much negativity about the mapping that I thought, I'll just go through the campaign. And the campaign was fun. Now the campaign's really hard unless you've got a stock of gems and things from a first character. I've just stuck on the one character, and it'll load. It'll have faith. So I've kept playing, even though people have left the game and they're playing other things, playing Last Epoch. I'm on console. I can't play Last Epoch. It's not on console yet. And then No Rest for the Wicked came out, and then it's like, that's not on console either. It's coming soon, I think. I don't know when. But I have different options as a non-PC gamer, because my laptop is just not capable of those things, and I don't want to test it. Yeah, I sort of stuck fat, kept going, and now doing the tier 15s. Everything's a tier 15. I've done some tier 16s, but I've got to do more of them. It's just that it's annoying that you have to corrupt the maps to get them. I mean, they can drop from a boss, I think, in a tier 15 technically, but that has happened to me. So yeah, my build is it's okay. I don't think it's fabulous or anything. I'm just recently trying out a new beast because I'm a companion build, and I'd love to show you with some gameplay. But yeah. It is still a work in progress, PoE, and I heard a bunch of different feedback, and I do sort of agree that I feel like the Wisps as a league mechanic fall flat because they're not embraced as a league mechanic, basically, by the devs. So a Wisp should be perhaps with the change to rares, so you can see the rares, being able to see the Wisp as well as the rares would be really, really, really monumentally intelligent decision, because then you could go, oh, I'm not going to just beeline it to the rares and miss out on the Wisp, and then you don't get to juice anything. It's like, oh, I can see where the Wisp is, so I know I can actually path it this way. If I kill all the rares that are close to it without touching the Wisp, and then let the Wisp go all the way, long way to a rare that's really far away, it'll build up more rarity. So I feel like you could do a lot more strategic use of the league mechanic, and I think the league mechanic would be more interesting that way. Also, I feel like the Wisp should also should go into a ritual. I think it should juice up a ritual. May make the ritual a bit too challenging with all the chaos and effects and things, but I feel like that should be a possibility. And then I don't know. I know Expedition gives you good rewards, good consistent stuff that you can sort of gamble some things with, but I wouldn't mind if you could upgrade the rarity of the Expedition chests. I know they'd be just hideously broken. It would just be broken, but I mean, I haven't progressed any of the only my main atlas is done-ish, pretty much done, but I've only progressed the bossing separate little tree. All the other trees I haven't progressed at all. Not one bit of progression. I've done a whole bunch of Expedition, done a couple of logbooks, but I don't get any progression from that. So, because there's I don't know how. I don't know what I'm missing. There's some boss in there that I don't know what it looks like or how to access it. Again, unless you do watch other people's YouTube content about it, explaining how it works, you're just in the dark, going, oh, maybe the dialogue with the NPCs explains something that I'm missing. I'm sure it does, but I'm happy to have it pop up when you go into the expedition from the logbook, going, oh, if you want to get the Atlas points, you got to do this and this. And I'll be like, oh, okay. Same with all of them. Like the Delirium, I've got no. Like, can you even get? You can upgrade that? You can get Atlas things for that? I don't know what you're talking about. I've done a couple of breaches. I got one breach ring. But, yeah, that's about it, really. I mean, it's really the boss thing from getting the splinters. Yeah, that I can understand that. I don't have... I think I have like maybe 66 from the breach, and I've got like a 100 of something else. Apparently the Audience of the King is more common on the ritual, but then I found ritual to be so lackluster that I'm just like, and it's so dangerous to run. I'm stuck on level 88. I haven't leveled up in ages because I just keep dying. And it's like dying to things like, laser beams and stuff, basically. They just hit you so hard instantly, there's nothing I can do about it. But that said, my build is I wouldn't say my build is tanky at all. So, I just rely on invulnerability and you know, you got to read the enemy cues. Really, it's some random rare will just overwhelm because there's a whole bunch of them around me, and it's like, oh, I've just got to get out of there and stuff. All my spells that I'm using my offensive stuff because I'm relying on my companions to do damage. They don't really do a huge amount, so I feel like it could be better. This is really disappointing that it's not loading. It's like, ugh. Yeah. You know what? We need gameplay. You need gameplay. If you don't have gameplay, no. Tell me what you think. You think the loot's better? I think the loot's better. I got a greater orb thingamajig jewel, so I can upgrade a socket thing, but I haven't used it. So I've got more chaoses, I've got more exalts, more lots of more rare items, really. I suppose that's the big change. But yeah, I feel like it's returned to normal. Returned to what it was before is how it feels. It doesn't, because again, I'm not playing the game correctly. So I'm not seeing, you know, 50 divs on the screen or anything like that. But I'd dropped 3 divs before this update, so yeah. I'd really like to show you my build. I'm still waiting. My main weapon on my build is still not very good. I'm still waiting to upgrade it. So I'm missing a substantial upgrade to my damage. Yeah, massive damage upgrade. I'm just leaving it out there. I mean, I've only got a +2 staff. It's just got allies and presence damage. I think it's 40%. No life on there for the Infernal Legion. So I could get a +4 with allies and presence to 100% increased damage. You can roll up that high. Plus, minions have 50% more life. Those 3 things all together would be huge. And then we want flat damage, added fizz damage, or cold or fire, or whatever, to the allies and presence. And then maybe crit chance. Well, not that it matters too much, but or elemental resistance. And then I've got to change my anoint because I've got 1% of my max health a regen for allies and presence. And I can swap that out for 40% increased life, but then reduced life recovery. So that means that my boar with Infernal Legion will probably die more often, but at the same time, 40% more life. It's at about 16k at the minute. And it's only level 19 gem, so I got a level 20 gem, and then maybe I can get it to like 20k, maybe 22k. That'd be good damage. My new beast I wanted to show you. My new beast is it has Ghost Shroud, periodic invulnerability, and extra fire damage. It hasn't got a 4th mod, which is really disappointing. But the Ghost Shroud means that it teleports. So it's a flying big bird. It hasn't got much health. 10k. Pretty low. I would prefer better. But because it's Ghost Shroud, it does survive a bit. It survives well. Because it's always teleporting around. The only thing is I'm thinking about just putting on the meat shield and then lowering its damage, and then it takes less damage and maybe just guarantee that it won't ever die. It's pretty bloody tough anyway. If I don't have to heal it as much as my Prowler, because the Prowler was, I feel like, because it's just low to the ground, just felt like it was eating a bit too much damage. But that said, if it had a 4th mod, something like Shield Aura would have been good. And Elemental Aura would have been good. Resist Aura. Haste Aura would have been crazy. Hinder Aura I think would have been really good too. Because as Ghost Shroud, it does jump in to combat. But the good thing is that it procs its invulnerability and then moves. So my boar goes, oh, I'm going to charge, and then the bird procs the invulnerability, and then it's invulnerable when it charges in, and then it hits together. I don't know, the extra fire damage is really that much good damage, but as soon as I went up from level 18 gem to level 19 gem, that's when it really just, the damage goes up so much from there. I know it's like 25 on the actual gem skill level, and I've only got a +1 amulet, so I'm missing 2 there. And then the +2 on the thing, I'm missing +4 to skill. I got a +2 helmet that's pretty good with chaos res. And energy shield. Armor could be better, but it has double chaos, and yeah, the belt could be better. Got fire and lightning, decent rolls. So I just remembered all the top off. I remember off in my head. I know one of my rings I can swap out because I'm ritualist, so I have 3 rings, and one of them I've just got flat stats, strength and dex 29 each, and then like a whole bunch of damage stuff. It's much better for a different character, in all honesty, but I just want those stats. So if I get, you know, plus strength plus dex, and then chaos res, and then I cap my chaos res. My chaos res is at 70. Should be 75. It's a bit silly. And then all the other ones, my max res thing is, I haven't done anything. I haven't got any max res at all. So all mine are 75. So that's another gaping hole in the build. Evasion, I think I've got it, I'm like 65%, 66%. Which is kind of irrelevant because the big problem for me is always bosses and big slams, which you can't evade. So, like, is it worth just getting acrobatics and just sucking it up? Or just ditching evasion and going full energy shield and just respecking the tree? Because evasion just doesn't help. But that said, I cover my defenses with being invulnerable for 5 seconds. So it's like everything can't hurt me. So if I run the Prowler with Infernal Legion and the Bird, both invulnerabilities, maybe that would be, if I can get the timing right, and be permanent invulnerable possibility. But it's just really hard to execute that, because they do proc it as soon as they see the enemy within range, and so that means that they proc it at the same time. It's like, and it just seems logical that they do. Yeah, the alternate is that you have a ranged beast, and then it'll proc it at a slightly different time, maybe a second apart, maybe half a second, but it just covers more of the screen, so you're more likely to receive the buff than anything else. Which I've got the snake, which has ranged attack, but I felt like the damage was just very low, because it felt like it wasn't its attack. It was kind of odd, but I had multiple projectiles on it, so maybe that's the answer. But I don't have any more level 19 gems, and you need a level 19. I'm just rambling while this damn thing doesn't bloody load, and I don't get to show you any gameplay. It's like, come on. Yeah. I suppose I'm not disappointed that the Path of Exile doesn't explain more, because I didn't expect it to. And you need to have expectations in order for disappointment to be a thing. So I didn't expect him to, but I felt like some of the glossary stuff is in big improvement, where you can see what a term means, see what the words mean, see what, elemental threshold, and they are sort of explained. It's just that it's not enough. There's more they need to explain. In a way that's engaging, in a way that keeps your attention and rewards your attention, I suppose. There's different ways to educate. It doesn't have to be very dry. It can be fun and informative, but I just don't like when you leave it to the content creators to do it for you. Yeah, particularly on a big game. I think if it was like a really niche indie game, I could totally understand that you leave a bit of marketing and sort of game explanations to content creators. Or it's not even that you leave it to them, but you have a space for them, you support them and allow them to do that. I think Survival Bob is a great example. He's a great champion of No Man's Sky over the years, and as it's improved, I don't know if they support him a huge amount, but it's really nice that when there's creators that sort of supplement the game and bring people into it and draw people in with the things that they don't quite market as well as they could. But in this case, I feel like I'm being pushed away from the game by its own mysteries. And I just, you know, they're not that complex. They just don't want to explain. So it's like, everything's complex when it's not explained. Yeah. But I've been struggling. I did fail a few corruption 15s because I had to use all my exalts on the maps to add the modifiers and then hope for something that wasn't too painful, and then just got a bit unlucky. Like, if I carefully position my character, I cannot be killed. Literally cannot be killed. But yeah, sometimes the Wisp pulls me further away. I lose my slow and steady approach, and then I'm in danger. Or like activated a strong box, and then, or activated an essence. Essences get me killed a lot, and it's not that the boss from the essence kills me. No, that's not it at all. It's just the random effects that come with it. Same with the strong boxes. Less dangerous from a strong box, but it's like similar to ritual. I think the effects that come from the device itself are more dangerous than any mob. So like with essence, the stupid GN or late phase, the red sky thingy, the red drops that come down from the sky that were ice before, they become this red blood stuff. When those are on an essence, that can be really dangerous, especially when it's temporal chains as well. It's like, oh yeah, it's just like, oh, bit bloody disappointing. It's not gonna load, is it? It's not gonna load. But it's, yeah, I don't know. I'm not as downer about PoE2, I think, as the Reddit side of things. But, you know, it exists to receive discourse, and most people are going to speak up when they have issues, which is, I think, totally reasonable. And I'm not playing an optimum build, I'm not crushing the content. I'm just sort of managing. And yeah, loot is better. Do I think there's much more room for improvement? Yes. I think everyone can agree on that. But I think it needs improvement in slightly different ways, and it's more about making it engaging learning experience. And I don't think they'll ever do that, which is a bit disappointing. And I think they could have put so much more effort into Wisps. I'm still waiting for the unique charm to drop from the Wisps, because they actually have some unique charms that are like game breaking, or game changing, I suppose. Crazy stuff. So it's like, oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna exit this game. I'm gonna exit, trying to come back in and save that map. I know. This isn't really a particularly engaging video, unless you're falling asleep to the sound of my dulcet tones. Yeah, Super Frosty 510. I was trying to show you my build and stuff and talk about it, but loot is better. And if you know how to play the game properly, I'm sure it's amazing. But there's also been issues with me being booted out of the game, and that reset all my settings and just annoying stuff. Alright, I'm gonna go get something to eat. Alright, have a lovely day. Tell me what you think. Feel free to essay. And catch you later. Bye bye.